Señor Presidente,
Mr. President, dear colleagues, I'd like to warmly welcome the Minister for Foreign Affairs of Cuba, His Excellency, Mr. Bruno Rodriguez Parilla. Brazil endorses the statement made by Uganda on behalf of the Group of 77 and China. My delegation also welcomes the report of the Secretary General on the need to put an end to the embargo against Cuba. The issue today is of great relevance for Cuba, our region, and has broad significance for the entire multilateral system. Brazil firmly supports the view that the only sanctions allowable under international law are those that are adopted by the Security Council under Chapter 7 of the United Nations Charter. Today, as so many times before, Brazil reiterates its firm and categorical and constant opposition to the economic, commercial, and financial embargo imposed on Cuba. We also reject the extraterritorial application of national discriminatory laws. The embargo has caused incalculable suffering to the Cuban people. It has stood in the way of Cuba's sustainable development, and as in many other similar cases, it has mainly affected the most vulnerable. The persistence of the measure has a direct effect on the exercise of the rights of the Cuban people, preventing them accessing essential goods such as medicines and technology that is essential for development. The rejection of the economic embargo against Cuba is more or less an economic consensus for so many reasons. The leaders of Latin America and the Caribbean meeting at the 8th summit of the Community of Latin American and Caribbean States on the 1st of March 2024 in St. Grenadine, in the Grenadines, passed the Kingston Declaration asking for an end to the economic, commercial, and financial embargo against Cuba, and called for it to be taken off the unilateral list of countries that supposedly support international terrorism. Brazil is very concerned to see the current energy emergency situation in Cuba worsened by the embargo and the recent passage of Hurricane Oscar, which has led to the loss of human lives and significant destruction in the eastern part of Cuba. And we express the full solidarity of Brazil with the people and government of Cuba in these difficult times, and our sincere condolences to the families of the victims. In order to help to mitigate the situation, Brazil has activated cooperation and assistance measures looking for solutions to provide fuel and food to the Cuban population through various channels. In September of 2023, during the 47th summit of the G77 and China in Havana, Brazil and Cuba signed a letter of intentions to establish a program of cooperation in the agricultural field. This included the donation of rice and powdered milk to Cuba to help with their food insecurity. Brazil provided 20,000 tons of powdered milk distributed to the Cuban people to help them to meet the basic food needs. It's clear that the severe sanctions imposed unjustly on Cuba, both by the embargo as well as by their inclusion on the list of states that sponsor terrorism, have further contributed to exacerbating the situation. These measures that already unjustifiably penalize the Cuban people are now preventing them adequately responding to the humanitarian crisis caused by the hurricane.